Hi everybody, welcome back to another video for Your Soul Evolution. It has been like a million years since I made a video, so I wanted to let you guys know what's been going on and what my story is, what I've been doing. So as you can see, I have a whole new background behind me. The universe gave us an amazing opportunity to sell our house and move out in the country. So we have done that. It's nice and quiet and peaceful, so you don't have to worry about the dog barking like in my previous videos. So we've just been busy with the selling of our old house and getting packed up and getting moved and getting settled over here as to, that's one of the reasons why I haven't had the time to make any videos. But I have also been going through a significant lifestyle change. I don't really tell anyone this, but for the past 6, almost 7 years, I had been having random seizures. And I believe I know exactly what started it, because I'd never had this problem in my entire life until I had done something. And I don't really want to get into that unless you just really want to know. But anyway, they started about 6.5 years ago. And at the time, I had a 2-month-old child. And so when it happened, I refused to go on any kind of medications because I was breastfeeding. And I didn't want to risk any of the medication going to my newborn. And but mostly I was just determined to find what caused it, and if I needed to, a natural way to keep them from happening again. Well, after that first one, they did not happen again for about 3 years. And during the 3 years, I was at home just being a stay-at-home mom. And I had very little stress going on because I was just at home with my little baby all day and just, living the good life. And it wasn't until I decided to go back to work and I opened up my own business. And I'm not blaming the business for causing a reoccurrence of the seizures, but it is stressful when you have your own business and you're trying to make ends meet every month, and you're dealing with so many different kinds of people and so many different energies. And I'm just saying the environment around me had changed drastically compared to me staying at home every day with my child. So one day, out of nowhere, I had another seizure. And my mother happened to be there that day, and another wonderful, wonderful person, if you're watching, that also helped. And I went to the hospital, and again, they wanted to give me medicine and get me started on different medications and stuff. And again, I was like, no, I'm going to figure this out. So I looked into some other remedies. I started using frankincense essential oil. Somebody had said you could put some of that on your forehead every day. And I started using CBD oil, which is wonderful and it does help, but I wanted more of a long-term solution that I don't have to remember to take something every day, anything like that. So as time went on, I still would have these seizures every once in a while. And I'm talking, they would come once every few months. Like there was no rhyme or reason to these seizures. I never knew when they were coming. I would have auras and headaches and things like this that would kind of give me a sign that they were on the way. And so I would know that I needed to stay home and rest and stuff like that. But I never could just find the solution. So recently, about, I don't know, probably in this past December, I just had enough, because every time I would have a seizure, I would just feel like my body betrayed me, and I would be angry and I would be sad and I would be emotional, and it would put me into a really depressed state. And it would last for days and days and days before I could pull myself out of it. And it was really hard to deal with, especially when I felt very spiritually connected And I'm asking, you know, my guides and my angels and all of that stuff to help me with this, but I just felt kind of alone, and I would get frustrated, you know, with that as well, to be really honest with you. And so then I had one, I think it was in December possibly, or towards the end of last year. And I was like, I cannot go through that depressed state again. I cannot do it. It's hard on my family. It's hard on me, and I'm just not. And I laid there in bed, and I begged and I pleaded and I finally demanded that the universe give me the answer to this problem. I said, you know, this is my problem. I've never had seizures in my entire life. And now for the last, you know, 6 years, I have had this burden on me. And I always have it in the back of my mind. I can't, you know, just truly live my life to the fullest because it's always in the back of my mind. But what if you have a seizure? You know, it's always there. And I just felt like it's just so unfair that for, you know, so many years, I never had this problem. And then now it's such a heavy burden on me and my family, you know, because they all worry about me and don't want me to, you know, go very far from the house. And, you know, it's just a really bad deal. And I just felt like that if I truly, you know, I just felt like the answer was there. I wasn't getting it. And so I just demanded that the universe show me a clear answer. How can I solve this problem and eliminate these seizures for good, forever, and move forward with my life and forget about all of this even? You know, I just wanted to move on from this whole situation because I had decided if I had another one, I don't know what I was going to do. Like, I just decided I could not have another one just because it's so rough physically, mentally, emotionally, all of it. I just couldn't go through it again. So within the week after I demanded, I said, universe, you know what is causing this. You know, you can see all, and I need to know now what is causing this problem and how I can eliminate it. And within the week, I would say, I was looking at something on YouTube and I just happened to see this video and the thumbnail said sugar on it. And I was like, So I hadn't been searching anything like this on my YouTube. So I know that it wasn't on there because I had been looking at similar stuff. You know, it was just there. And so I was like, well, I'm going to watch it. And sure enough, it was a video about, it was a guy that was making a video for his sister who had epilepsy. And he was trying to explain to her that her brain cannot heal because she's constantly consuming sugar. And he had all kinds of, you know, factual evidence of this and how it works and all of that. And it really struck a chord with me. And I was like, I think this is it. Because then I started thinking back to the 3 years that I did not have a seizure and I was not consuming sugar because I was breastfeeding and I was paranoid that it would make my kid, you know, get hyperactive and all of that. So it all made sense in that moment. So I decided that I was going to eliminate the sugar. And so from there, I eliminated the sugar. I immediately noticed changes in my, I had some, you know, social anxiety and things like that just from being, you know, a human being. And I had, I was a little moody every once in a while, like my mood wasn't balanced or something. And, you know, there was just some other little things, and I just started to notice how much better I felt. And I didn't have any, you know, signs of a seizure. I wasn't having any headaches anymore. I wasn't having any kind of blurred vision. I even literally felt balanced, like more, like when I would be walking, I could just feel that I was more level and balanced. And so from there, it led me to the Keto way of eating. And so I started eating keto, which is where you eliminate sugar, which I had already done, and then you eliminate carbs, which turn to sugar. So I just took that whole thing, you know, a one step further. And then I just continued to feel just better and better and better. And I became more active. I started working out again, which I've always been someone that was pretty active. I love long walks, and I can just walk miles and miles and miles. And I like running and things like that. But I started just becoming more active, like outside, or just go out in my yard and do stuff. And I just had so much more energy. It was like just crazy how my energy was. And so eventually, after being on keto several months, I decided that I had been doing some research on the carnivore diet, which is where you go from having, usually with keto, you stay about 20 carbs for your day. And most of those come from the low carb vegetables, broccoli, asparagus, cauliflower, spinach, things like that. And I just decided that I was feeling so good, and because my seizure symptoms and headaches and blurred vision and all that, it was just, you know, I was having such success that I just wanted to do all that I could to just eliminate any and all possibility of this ever coming back. And I was just so open to what the universe, where it was leading me. And so that's something that I just really wanted to touch on real quick, is just be open. When you ask the universe for an answer, or you demand an answer like I didn't, like, you better tell me right now, then you have to be open and willing to go on whatever journey that the universe has in store for you. You just have to throw your hands up and be like, just take me along for the ride. I'm ready. I'm going. Let's go. And so through my research, it led me to the Carnivore Way of Eating, which is the original way of eating, pretty much, because that's what the cavemen were eating: meat. It's a way of eating where you simply eat meat. You eat meat, you eat eggs, you can have butter, anything from the animal kingdom you can have. And that is what the majority, depending on where you live in the world, but here in the US, a lot of our ancestors, and all over the world really, but they were eating meat like 10, 11 months out of the year. They had no access to vegetables, and what vegetables they had were nothing like the vegetables that we have nowadays. Most of our vegetables nowadays are genetically modified. You know, broccoli is genetically modified. It's not even real. You mix it with a cabbage or wild cabbage or something. And none of the fruit that we have now really existed back then. And if they did, it was like I think strawberries back, you know, thousands of years ago were like the size of your fingernail. And now they're just these huge, weird things. And so most of our ancestors would have only had access to vegetables and fruit maybe once a year. And they would have had things like honey maybe once a year. So all of these things that I had believed were the proper way of eating really are not, if you take the time to do the research, and you don't just believe, oh, vegetables and fruit, they're healthy for you, that's what you should be eating if you want to be healthy. If you dig a little deeper into that, there's a whole other world of oxalates and lectins and anti-nutrients and all of this stuff. But that's a whole other video. And I'm not saying that this way of eating is for everyone, because it's not. Depending on where you live, the closer you are to the equator and all of this, you can have more veggies and things like that. But most of us, really historically, our ancestors were not eating that stuff. They were eating meat. They were hunting. They were eating every part of the animal. They were eating the organs. They were using the hides. They were doing all of that stuff. And that's why this is not a fad diet. If you've heard of carnivore as a fad diet in any way, it's not. It's the original, ancestrally appropriate, proper human diet, like Dr. Berry says. So whenever I went full on carnivore, that is when I truly felt like I just hit the jackpot. Like everything came together for me. Like I used to feel like your physical health was like 80 to 90% based on your spiritual health. That if somebody came into the shop that I used to have that I just sold like back in November, if they come in with some kind of physical ailment, I would immediately pull out the Louise Hay book about, you know, how you can, or You Can Heal Your Life is what it was called, or the Metaphysical Anatomy book, and try to figure out, you know, the spiritual meaning of their illness. And I still believe all of that stuff, I do. But I just also believe now that what you're eating is about 50% and your spiritual health is about 50%. I don't believe that it's like 80-20 like I used to. And that is from my own personal experience, because I, you know, have been the person that meditates every single day, and I'm connected to nature, and I'm doing all the, you know, spiritual stuff and all of that, but there just was something missing, and it was what I was eating. And I didn't eat horrible. I didn't. I've never been somebody that just, you know, I don't really like eating out. I don't like fast food that much, just because I think, you know, of sanitary purposes and things like that. But I was eating bread most every day. I was consuming multiple cold brew coffees a day. I also eliminated caffeine. I just do decaf now. And there was a lot of stuff that I was doing that was contributing to these problems that I was having. I know that it was, and I know that you can't just be 100% spiritually perfect and still just be eating, you know, just consuming caffeine all day and eating crap. It doesn't work. And I know this now from personal experience. I know this. Sorry, my tripod just fell over, so it may be a different angle now. But so far on the carnivore diet, I just want to give you a few things that I have been experiencing. Just a recap. 0 depression, 0 anxiety, 0 neurological issues. I have no problem sleeping, which I have had for many, many, many years. I was a very light sleeper, and I would get up multiple times during the night. Now, as soon as I hit the pillow, I'm out. Like, it is a deep, restful sleep, and I wake up and I'm just ready to go, and I don't feel like I need just a little more sleep. I'm ready for the day. Like I said, I've not had that in years, so that's been one of the most favorite benefits that I've had. Just in general, just my well-being is just overall improved like a million times. I'm stronger physically. I did start lifting some weights, but when you're on this way of eating, you naturally gain muscle just because you're eating so much muscle meat all the time, and you're just naturally become more leaner and physically fit. And I just love that, because I'm stronger and I have more energy than I did, you know, when I was in my 20s. The carnivore way of eating is the proper human diet for most people, in my opinion. Look up Dr. Barry on YouTube. You can find his videos. He's got over 200 videos, and you can get more in depth with this. You can also look up Dr. Paul Saladino. He's got some awesome podcasts on the whole vegetable thing. So basically, that's what I've been up to. You know, we got moved. We're getting settled in. We still have a few things to unpack, but we're getting there. And I look forward to being able to make more videos now that I have a much more peaceful and serene background. And there's a cameo appearance. This is Harry. He's named after Harry Potter, and he's a sweet little kitty. But anyway, basically in a nutshell, I just wanted to let you know, of course, about what I've been up to in my experience with the carnivore way of eating, but just also to remind you that if you have an issue that you just cannot seem to resolve, and it is something that's very urgent and very life-altering, then you have a right to demand an answer from the universe. The universe knows everything, and it knows how to solve your problem. You have to ask, first of all, and then, just demand an answer, and then just be open to all the many, many ways that can come to you. And in my wildest dreams, I never thought that the answer to my issue would be sugar, first of all, and then a whole new way of eating. Like, I never would have thought that it would come to that, ever. And that is exactly, where the universe led me. And now I am forever grateful for, just this way of eating, and how wonderful I feel, how wonderful my entire family feels. I've got my, my mother and my dad and my sister and her husband and my niece and my nephew. I've gotten all of these people, I've shared the information with them, and they have seen what it's done in my life, and now they're all on it too. And it's just wonderful how the universe not only helped me with my issue, but now has helped my family and my dad with his blood pressure, and it just has benefited everyone. And I owe it all to the universe for giving me that answer that I demanded to know. So anyway, I will see you on the next video. If you have any questions, please, comment below. Also, I have another Instagram now called Spiritual Carnivore, and that is where I post a lot of my food and things like that, in addition to my Your Soul Evolution Instagram. And I have a Facebook called Spiritual Keto, and I'm always willing to help anybody. Just, let me know, and as I have time, I'll definitely answer your questions and get back to you. So goodbye from me and Harry.